live news conference. I call the Tuscarawas Valley Board of Education meeting on February 8th, 2021 in the Trojan Center with Zoom to order. Please call the roll.
Mr. Goody?
Present.
Mrs. Green?
Present.
Mrs. Johnson?
Present.
Mr. Overton?
Yep.
Mrs. Berger?
Present. At this time, we'd like to make sure everyone has access to the agenda today. Agendas are available here in the sign-in table or online. If you have joined by Zoom, please mute your microphones at this time. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance followed by the invocation?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the
that you put your arms around them as they work with Mike through this time. And Lord, tonight,
Request for public participation.
Great. So I'll talk first about Hallie, if you'd like to come up. Hallie Carpenter is our Fine Artist of the Month. Hallie Carpenter is our Fine Artist of the Month.
Am I supposed to come up?
Yes.
Definitely on camera. She's a senior. She's the daughter of Beth and Chris Carpenter of Bolivar. She's a member of our marching concert band, skiing board club, and also National Honor Society. She enjoys reading, skiing, and spending time with her family and friends. And after graduation, plans to go to Kent State University and major in construction management. So, first I have a question. Was that something you wanted to do, or is that something that you've has become an interest since you were able to be a part of the building committee?
Well, I kind of enjoyed building before, and so Mr. Murphy let me join, and that's been cool.
Okay, that's awesome. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like you.
Give me a second. Sorry, I pushed the wrong button. It's embarrassing.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And next we have Audrey Garrett. Audrey is our Student of the Month. She is also a senior, and she was nominated and voted on the Student of the Month Award for her leadership here at Tuscarawas Valley. She's the daughter of Hillary and Daryl Markey John of Bolivar, and she's a member of Hope Squad, National Honor Society, and is the class president. She was also a member of the cross-country team in Youth to Youth. She enjoys being outside, hiking, taking day trips to Cleveland with her friends, and drinking coffee and reading. So, now after graduation, this is a little wordy, but she is going to do the 3+2 Psychology to Social Work program, starting at Bolden Wallace for 3 years, then finishing her last 2 at Case Western, and she will earn her Master's in Social Service Administration. And her goal is to then open a private practice, therapy, and counseling office somewhere near Cleveland. That was a specific. Yes. So congratulations.
Oh, no, not them. Oh, sorry, Mom. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Phillips, thank you. Thank you so much. Audrey and Hallie, and to your parents as well. Thank you to all of you, and congratulations. Mr. Phillips has said, we feel like a broken record sometimes, but we've not been able to say this tonight for you. We are so proud of both of you, and Allie as well. You guys represent extremely well. And I know that the quality of leadership was one of the main things that the high school staff was looking for this time for nominations. And you both are phenomenal leaders. You're talented, you're ambitious, hardworking, and a lot of fun to be around. And our school district is blessed to have you. People like you guys make us better. So congratulations once again, and congratulations to our parents. Thank you as well.
Thank you.
Nice job. My second item is, and the staff and you as a board are aware of this, but I just wanted to real quickly let everyone know plans are in the works now for the vaccination of school employees. and substitute employees and coaches who wish to have it. So that first dose is scheduled for Tuesday, February 16th. From 1 o'clock to 3:30. And what I've done, we've taken all of the about 130 employees that are requesting it, and we've chunked them up into half-hour increments on that afternoon. So we will operate with a 2-hour early release on the 16th, and then follow that up on Wednesday, the 17th, with a remote learning day. And the whole purpose of that is to hopefully be prepared in the event that there are some employees that experience side effects. What we are trying to prevent is a lot of confusion at the last minute if there are call-offs, or I don't want our principals to be in.
Say a big thank you
That's great.
To them for wanting to put our kids first.
Yes.
And that's all I'm going to say.
Absolutely, thank you. Very well said, very true. Item C is, by law, we as a school district need to host or have a public hearing regarding the proposed calendar at least 30 days prior to the board's or recommendation and board's approval of an official calendar. So you've seen the draft calendar, our administrative team, our school staff has seen that. So we are kind of leaning into what I'm calling draft A. It's very similar to the calendar that we're operating under this school year.
Hi there.
Heard you talk. I'm sorry. I just silenced it.
Hello back. So it's very similar. A couple of key features of this is that we would, first day with students would be August 23rd. Of course, we would do a kindergarten phase-in like we normally do. But the benefit of starting August 23rd is, unless we're real careful, you can have this creep where you're starting earlier and earlier in August. And we try to start as late in August as we can, but yet still try to finish, if we can, prior to Memorial Day. So this calendar allows us to do that. It does provide a 2-week block at Christmas time. It does still contain 2 what we call calamity makeup days. And you may wonder, well, Mark, do we really need a calamity makeup day? The state doesn't even recognize, everything's turned into hours. So, but the bottom line is, you as a school board employ people based on contracts. And the contracts are not based on hours, they're based on days. So what we believe is, and we've kind of followed the same pattern for many years, the state's model a long time ago was, hey, you know, the first 5 calamity, first 5 snow days, if there are, that's kind of, we'll call those freebies. But then after that, you need to start making them up. And we kind of stuck with that. Would you have to? No. We exceed the number of hours for children to be in school. We far exceed that. We could probably miss 20 days of school until we would have to make up hours. We believe that having 20 days off is not instructionally sound, nor to pay people for 20 days of not working is irresponsible. So what we've done is we still build in calamity makeup days in the event that we go like day 6 and day 7, then those become work days. After that, it would require board approval literally to extend the school year. And we're never interested in doing that either, because that's unproductive. So I hope, does that make sense? Any questions regarding that? I'm trying to think if there's anything else. It always comes down, when you start looking at a district calendar, you can splice it and dice it in many, many ways. But when it's all said and done, you're still looking at 179 student days, 184 teacher days. The days are the same because we're employing people under contracted days. So, questions, thoughts, feedback?
Nope.
I am asking, this is, I've asked the staff, our administrative team has looked at this as well, but I've asked the staff, please look at it. I have made errors in the past, typos, grammatical things. So if you find something wrong, I'd rather correct it now. And so it's right when we take it to the board for approval in March, as opposed to in May coming back and saying, oh, Mark, that, we've counted their days wrong, and that should be this, and that should be that. So.
Some of us board members make mistakes too. I sent him an email and said, Mark, I thought the 21st was Easter or what? That was 2022, not 2021.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing to think that here we are, it's January, February 2021, and we are looking ahead. When you start mapping out school years like this, it's almost like you're speeding up time in my mind. It just feels like things start racing. So
I know that when I'd asked you about that earlier, and I just want to say, publicly that I do appreciate the fact that you guys do really take into account that this is a contracted thing, and you're not just giving those freebies out because, in essence, it is the taxpayers' money and everybody else's money. So
right,
yeah.
As you know, Ben, one of our core values is financial stewardship and responsibility, and I think our community, we do not want to take for granted the support that our community gives us. And I'm just very mindful of everything that we do here is because of the generosity of our taxpayers, whether it's local or state and a little federal, it's all because of tax-paying citizens. And so we need to be very mindful of that. Everything we do is because of that. So I want to be very mindful of paying people to not be actively working.
Okay.
Yep. And that concludes my report, Mrs. Burrier, unless there are any thoughts or questions.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Now, item number 4, new business consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve items A, 1 through 10?
I make the motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Before discussion, Mr. Phillips, is there anything you'd like to add since there's some financial, I don't know.
That's under number 5, I think.
Right. That's it.
Separate.
I just didn't know if you wanted anything to say.
No, I mean, I can. It's, the resolution accepting the amounts and rates is an annual resolution that the Budget Commission requires boards to pass. So the Budget Commission previously met, they established tax rates for calendar year 22.
Okay.
And that's what these rates are that they're asking for you to approve.
Okay, thank you. Just to share, mid-evaluations were completed with Mr. Phillips and Mr. Murphy this past week. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to make a, Madam Chair, if I can make a comment. I'm sure. I want to say something about vaccinations too. Thanks, Dick, for your comments because it was very in line with what I wanted to say, but I do want to say that I did get the vaccine and I've had the second shot, and I think it really is important to do. And I value the teachers and staff who are doing that to protect our kids and keep our schools open. So I really appreciate that. And I also like to, they've all left, haven't they? Well, congratulations, students out there. I thought they were still here. So those were my comments.
Okay. Please call the roll.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Gooding?
Yes.
Mr. Overton? Yes. Ms. Burrier?
Yes. The votes have been cast unanimously approving items A, 1 through 10. Item number 5, is there a motion to approve the 5-year forecast as submitted by Mr. Phillips, Treasurer?
I make the motion to approve.
Is there a second? Sorry, I forgot it. Any discussion? But
Yes, let him.
Yeah.
I want him to.
In 14 years of being a treasurer, I've never had a mid-year update. So just to add a little color as to why, it was brought to my attention that what is filed, from November and posted on the Ohio Department of Education's website actually has the expenses for fiscal 21 carried exactly to 2022, 3, 4, and 5. So the expenses for all of those years are identical. So something went wrong in the process, which is sort of a long, cumbersome process to take the spreadsheet and upload it. So normally I would have just uploaded whatever was approved in November, but between November and now there have been significant changes to the revenue estimates that I have forecasted out. So I thought if I was going to go through the whole cumbersome process of reloading the forecast to OD's website, I might as well update it for these changes. First one being, there's CARES Act 2 funding. So Tusky Valley is going to receive $600,000 in federal funding under the CARES Act. It doesn't actually show up as a revenue on this forecast. If you look at salaries and benefits, the first line in we actually have the ability, and I use the CARES Act funding to reclassify general fund wages to the federal fund. So we see a reduction in expenditures because we're receiving that federal revenue, if that makes sense. As we talked about previously, Rover has filed a second appeal, and that's going to result in a significant reduction in tax collections from the pipeline. So if you look at the second line of the forecast, public utility personal property, you can see that in fiscal year 21, I'm projecting that we're going to collect $3.6 million. And if you move to fiscal 22, it's going to drop by $600,000 to $3 million. So that's where you can see that drop in Rover collections based on the second appeal. The governor released his proposed budget for the next 2 years. He's proposing that funding levels for foundation funding fall back to 2019 levels, and then he's going to add an extra, for Tusky Valley, an extra $100,000 in
socio-emotional, or the social, the wellness fund.
Yeah, student wellness is what it's called.
Student wellness, right.
So originally I had us factored in it being completely flat going out, but now I'm reflecting the fact that he's going to increase that student wellness money in each of those years going forward as well.
But it has to be devoted for certain things, obviously. But.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a limit on how many times the road can appeal?
No, not currently.
It can appeal up to the Supreme Court, correct? And then at that point, it can't anymore.
Once they
Well,
roll?
that appeal.
Oh, then they can make another different kind of appeal.
Right, as it stands in law now, yes. That's part of, the Ohio School Pipeline Coalition that we're a part of. One of the things that, we're pushing for is to try and get legislators to pass legislation that would somehow restrict the time period when somebody can file an appeal in these situations. And again, if it's approved or settled on, that they can't file again for another 5 years. I mean, public utility is different than a regular homeowner or a commercial business in our eyes.
Okay. Then I have one question. Line item 3, which is the kind of the red highlight under fiscal year 2023, it looks like we get 6 million, then we go down to 4 million, then we go back up to 6 million. Do you see that?
Yes.
Can you just explain that?
Yes. So, again, Tusky Valley is what's considered a guaranteed district when you're looking at state foundation. So, if you run through the school funding formula, it would calculate out that Tusky Valley should receive less funding than it did the year before. But there's a clause in the formula that if the calculation works out that way, then the state will guarantee you the same amount of funding that you received in the previous year. With the addition of Rover Pipeline to our valuation, there's a chance that if the state would eliminate the guarantee, that we could see a significant reduction in the amount of state funding we receive.
Okay.
So what I've done is taken the middle year of the forecast and plugged that hypothetical reduction in so that we're always mindful of the fact that that could happen in the future.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Any other questions? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Overton?
Yes.
Mrs. Berger?
Yes.
Mr. Gooding?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson.
Yes. The votes have been cast unanimously approving the 5-year forecast submitted by Mr. Phillips. Item number 6, is there a motion to approve a resolution by the school district board accepting design development document phase?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Sure, I'll second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Gooding?
Yes.
Mr. Overton?
Yes.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Berger?
Yes. Item number 6, sorry.
Now, Madam Chairman, may I say something?
Yes?
We've had two very good meetings recently with the facilities people, and today we met with the Hammond Group helping us project out timings, et cetera, on getting more involved in the PK 6. And I think that they are certainly, I'm just so thankful to Hammond and the LESCO. They're doing everything they can to help Tusky Valley out. And again, it's when you deal with the state, they have certain rules and restrictions and regulations which we don't know about, but they do. But they're, how would you say, they're lobbying on our behalf to do everything they can to help Tusky Valley in that regard. So I just want you to know it's going well, and that's an update.
Well, I was just going to say, thanks, Dick. We appreciate you and Sally sitting in on those and keeping informed and spending the time that you are. Thank you. So the votes have been cast unanimously approving the resolution by the school board accepting the design development document phase. Item number 7 is our leadership reports. Is there any additions or corrections to your already submitted? Mr. Varansky.
No, I know it was in my report, but I just wanted to share, we have completed our winter benchmark assessments. We give the Ames Web in K-4 that really looks at foundational literacy skills, and then we give what's called the MAP assessment, K-12, which really measures comprehension. And there's been lots of talk and chatter about students being behind because of the pandemic, but we have not let that be our focus. Our focus has been getting our kids where the benchmark says they should be on a regular year, so that's been our focus, and then providing the interventions and supports as needed to those students who are behind. So today was the first time we actually had a good chance to look at that mid-year data now that it's completed, and honestly our students are performing very well. We are pretty close across the board to being where they would be on a typical year. Of course there's always opportunities for growth, and there's pockets of where we know we can do better. So over the next week, the principals and I, along with all of our teachers, we will look at every single student, K-12, look at their data, where are they, and what do we need to do to support them. But I just wanted to give you that heads up that they are doing well, and that's a great testimony.
And that's
too.
exceptional.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a
you
testimony
hear
to our
all this
principals.
stuff on the news about this and that, and I'm so happy that we're working, and the kids must be working hard too,
Sure.
to be able to do that. So thank you.
Sure.
And I have to apologize. I did have Dr. Varansky on my paper. Mr. Phillips.
I do not have anything else.
Okay. Mrs. Knowles?
The only thing is our spelling bee was moved because of weather last week, so it is this Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. I think we're down to 26 spellers because of quarantining, and some of our kids don't want to participate. I think they're very nervous, and things are different this year, so it'll be interesting, but we are still going forward and looking forward to a great spelling bee. And I just want to congratulate the middle school sports teams. We had a phenomenal basketball season.
Good.
If we didn't have to quarantine the entire 7th grade girls game, we would have taken 3 of the 4 IBC trophies home. And our 8th grade boys put up a great fight. Our 7th grade boys and 8th grade girls won, and our 7th grade girls had to be eliminated because we didn't have enough players. But a great season and very fun to watch. So I just want to congratulate all of them and their coaches.
Great. Thank you. Mr. Spielman?
I really don't have anything to add. I'm just gearing up for tomorrow morning. You know, they're calling another winter tonight.
Might as well just stay up and watch, you know.
Well, yeah, I might as well. 'Cause I'll be up at 3 o'clock and probably be on the road by 3:30. You know, checking roads. And I got a good group. You know, Indian Valley and Garraway and New Philly and myself. We're on a group chat, so we're seeing where the storm's at, which way it's moving, what it's looking like. So Yeah, we've got the county pretty well covered in the morning, so keep our fingers crossed.
Safety
Hopefully
first.
it'll stay northwest of us, won't really drop much on us. We can get back in school tomorrow, but only time will tell.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Moving on to item 8. The next regular Board of Education meeting will be held March 8th, 2021 at 7 p.m. in the Tuscarawas Valley High School Trojan Center. Item number 9, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second,
Please call the roll.
Mrs. Johnson?
Yes.
Mrs. Green?
yes.
Mr. Gooden?
Yes.
Mr. Overton?
Yes.
Mrs. Berger?
Yes. And I just want to finish with happy birthday to Mr. Gooding.
Yes. Happy birthday, Dave.